Hey, hello everyone. So to sleep. Hello, Ben. Good to see you, buddy. You love that emo? Yeah, that's the emo I was talking about. That Twitch rolled out for Shadow of the Earth Tree. How you keeping, Ben? Hope you're doing well. Camera, please. Thank you. How's your vacation going? How is the vacay? Ooh. Yeah, okay, I think we've had enough of that now. Come on. Alright. So we're top left, weren't we? Is it gonna play? No. Camera. Show the game. Of course it's not going to show. Why would it show the game? Funny. There we go. Hey, Jackson. Oh, I was saying, who's the birds are those? It's Emmy, just dancing. Nice. I like your Nike Harry Potter house shirt. I see what you did there. Yeah, I mean, didn't you not know they were endorsed by Nike now? Or Nike? Yeah, didn't you not know? Yeah, that's clearly, I mean, yeah, clearly Gryffindor. Yeah. Gryffindor is the best house, anyway, so. You bought a new game? Ooh, what game did you buy? Game did thou hath acquire even? You're more of a Ravenclaw? I can see that. He's a Hufflepuff. Nice.
Come. A boat cannot be far.
Boat cannot be. Oh yeah, we already did this bit already, but it's fine.
Huh. Really?
Wait,
Sindri made it sound like
did we? Wait, did we get the upgrades done? Must have.
Doesn't sound like anyone's following you.
I haven't done like a what house are you in Harry Potter for like fucking years, so I've probably changed quite a bit. I'm being honest. You put a picture on Discord. I will have a look-sees. Oh, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Ooh, nice. Also, happy Dawn Trail Day today. Well, it's the early access for Dawn Trail on Final Fantasy 14, but yes, it is today. Queue times? Really good. Actually, I was genuinely shocked. I tried logging in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was like 40 people. I was like, huh?
There's a building just past
I was expecting like 4,000. Yeah, I was expecting about the 4,000 mark, and it was like, no. It's like, yeah, you just log in straight away. So, what I might do is I don't know, either Saturday or Sunday.
What about them?
I might just.
Right to blame me for them. They were my idea.
Oh.
If you've got the time, they're in the bay just beyond this tunnel.
Yeah, we've got time for him. I'm thinking of maybe showing off unlocking the Viper job class and like just doing like trying to level it up a little bit and like trying it out and getting used to it. Maybe I won't do any story at the moment.
I particularly appreciate us checking out the mining rigs in the lake to the right. You can see the smokestacks from here.
But if you don't want to explore now, it looks like Durlin's place is through that open gate to the left.
Okay, so hold on. So we got a choice. We either go left to go to Durlin's place, or we go right or straight on through the rigs.
So which way do we go?
We go right.
We could prepare more before rescuing Tyr. Up to you.
Whichever. Oh, cooldown is permanently increased by 2. Nice. The dual sword class, yes. So basically Zidane, or Zidane from Final Fantasy 9.
Wanted the dwarves under his control, and well, I convinced him he could buy their allegiance instead of demanding it outright. A trade agreement of sorts.
Yeah, that probably didn't go well there. Is there one right here? No. Why does it keep swinging around all the fucking time? Right, I'm just gonna explore around here for a little bit. We're not gonna start the main story. We're just gonna do this favor to start with.
Atreus, you are getting better. Faster.
I'd even be better than you one day, huh?
If you are not, I have failed.
Maybe it's like proper father-son moment. If you have not, then I have failed. I mean, he's not wrong. It's like your duty is to make your, you know, offspring better than
See the
you.
smoke above us? That's where we're headed. Let's see if we can't shut it down.
Shut it down.
Left side, brother!
Left side, brother. What? Wee! Wah 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 wah!
If the dwarves didn't like working for Asgard, couldn't they just quit?
And do what? Their newly built forges poisoned the soil of Svartalfheim. Unable to grow their own food, they had to buy it from Asgard. If they stopped working...
But yes, it's the new class that came out for Dawn Trail, the dual sword
And awful.
class that came out for Dawn Trail. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see how I'm feeling with Ragnarok. I might either do another stream of it tomorrow and then do the 14 stream on a Sunday maybe. I know we'll have less time. Actually, no, we won't have less time because I'm actually off work on the Monday, so that's not too bad. I could do that. How's Ragnarok's treating you, Archie? It's treating me alright. I can't complain, you know. I'm terrible at combat. That's one thing I've actually figured out is I'm terrible at combat. I take too many hits. That's what she said. Wait, no, that sounds awful. Anyway. Pictomancer looks cool. Yes, yeah. I won't unlock. Ooh,
Think it might
nice.
lead to that combat arena we visited years ago?
What makes you say that?
Wishful thinking, I guess. Going through Surtur's gauntlet, it was fun.
It was training.
You didn't have fun? Well, anyway, we should look for the other half of the seed. Once it's
Also, do you
full,
know Pro
see where it leads.
ZD is in this game? Who? Whomst? Oh, when I think of ZD, I think of Zero Dawn. Not gonna lie. Yeah, the picked up Mancer looks cool. I don't know whether I'll unlock it, to be honest. I don't think it's for me, but it does look quite cool.
Great. Now we can make it across.
Because it's, you know, on a homage to Realm in 6. Oh, shortcut. Thank you. Spartan range, yes. RoseD is a YouTuber. He was the voice of Flack in Borderlands 3. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware. I haven't played much of Borderlands 3, so isn't that the like one of the robot characters you play as? The memory's a bit hazy. Not gonna lie. Like I said, I've only played a little bit of Borderlands 3, so that's cool. That's cool that like YouTubers, YouTubers in this. No voice in this. Yeah, he's the Beastmaster. Gotcha. Oh, hello. Oh, what the hell? Oh.
They just keep coming.
It's a bird trap. Spawning a little witches like there's no tomorrow.
Oh.
Will be so.
Ow. How are they gonna dance again? Oh.
Behind you, brother!
Ah. Ow. Ooh, fuck. Atreus, please, help me. Help me. Oh, you fucker. I know, I won't use a resurrection stone.
Ah, this is a fuck.
Shit. Okay, I have full health. Oh, wait, does... Oh, okay.
They just keep coming.
It's a bird trap. Spawning a little witches like there's no tomorrow.
It will be so.
Oh, it will be so.
Watch out! Left side.
Spot rage. Ah! Boom. 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 Oh, okay. I just did a little bit of extra damage.
Behind you, father.
Dead.
Jump up.
The rig's like they chock a block with materials that could help us. I'd grab whatever it spits up in the process.
Okay. Oh, go on, Kratos. A word. Oh, okay, that's one way to do it. Leviathan axe.
The dwarves agreed to the deal with Asgard. Why do they blame you?
I talked them into their own exploitation.
They made their choice.
Work or die is not a choice. I only made it seem so. What you just picked up there is pure battle-fine ore. It won't be of use in the rig anymore, but perhaps our Huldra brothers
Ooh,
could
okay.
grab something from it.
Okay, nice armor. Yeah, I'm game. I'm game. Yeah, the YouTuber's actual name is Sung Won Cho. He's voiced a lot of characters over the last few years. Oh, has he really? That's good. That's awesome. Oh, by the way, Welshie, you'll be happy to hear they released... Yes, I saw they did an update. I did see they did an update of some sorts. Well, for the DLC, because people were moaning it was so hard. Well, you know, people were like, oh my god, these bosses are so obnoxiously difficult. Bless me. Yeah, etc, etc, etc. So the DLC should... It's rebalanced the new Scattered Tree Blessing system. Ah, okay.
Essentially harnessing resources that would otherwise go to the dwarves.
Bless me.
These things down will help the
So the
dwarves.
DLC shouldn't be obnoxiously brutal.
Don't know, but I have to
Due
try
to enter
something.
as it was for me. Ah, okay, awesome. I mean, that's you know, as long as they've. That's the thing, isn't it? You don't want. I know it's DLC and you want it to have difficulty, but you don't want it to. You don't want it to make it too difficult so that people get turned away from the game. So you know. So that's fair.
Father, is it always moral to kill something that's trying to kill you?
Yes.
Well, there you have it, lad.
Hey, no, we weren't moaning. We were voicing valid complaints. No, I know. I know you were, like, because you're, like, you've played, like, a lot of people, you know, you and the Dark Souls experts. You know your stuff, so it made sense.
Taking a break before visiting Durlin?
Hey, Sindri.
Very wise. He can be a lot.
What's he doing here?
Whatever you need.
Anyway, it was just perceived as like moaning. I know it wasn't, but it was just perceived that way. Ooh, hello, Mama. Yes, please. Stun grabbing an enemy grants a health burst.
That might be my best piece yet today.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Okay, so if I shut down these... Oh, that makes sense why there's 3 of them. So if I shut them down, I can have a whole armor set of... Oh, that looks sick. That looks really nice, actually.
Take care of your armor, and it'll take care of you.
Yes. Wise words indeed. Yeah, what it most likely was like you said, Ben. You know, you were just voicing your complaints or concerns, and then other people, and then obviously the people that probably aren't so
Why would the dwarves agree to work for the Aesir in the
skilled or are a veteran of the series are probably just like, oh my god, this game is ridiculously hard. Why have they made it so ridiculously hard? And then, you know, it's been rebalanced. That's probably what's happened. Oh, do you mind? I'm trying to have a conversation. Honk. Get fucked. Thank you very much.
Bring it to the wall! You gotta knock it down!
I'm aware. I'm aware. No, sir. Yeah, say, you still on vacation, you Ben? Oh, damn. Ow. I would like health, please. Ow. Where did that come from? Health burst. Give me a health burst.
Nightmare! Left flank!
Oh, you little bitch.
Behind you! Poison!
Honk. Get fucking out of here. Oh, you bitch. Nice.
It's clinging to the wall! You gotta knock it down!
I'm being poisoned. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. I don't want to die.
Last one.
really don't want to die. Oh, this happened. Okay, everyone, nobody panic. Nobody panic. Nobody panic. Fine. That was stupid. Oh. Oh, okay. So it's like you gotta flame them and then you gotta put them on fire, the brazens. And then it unlocks the seal. Okay. I think I saw another one somewhere. Can't remember. Oh no, it was over here. It was over here. Hold on. Everybody calm down. Oh, I need to... from above. Okay. Alright. Oh. From here. How do I get that? Can't show the... Oh, do I have to move the crane, maybe? Hmm. Okay. Oh, I could use that, isn't it? Oh, okay. Bonk. And that likes that one. Okay, got it. Nice. Cool. Alright, sorry. That's why I think they made it should in theory be just what we needed, at least for the majority of the DLC, because before the update most people were still struggling after finding essentially all the blessings they could. So the bullshit get good line that Bandai Namco accounts were effectively spewing clearly showed they were entirely disconnected from the actual issue at hand. Yeah, that's when that's a problem, when you've got every single thing and you're still at a disadvantage with the bosses. That is still that's bad. Ooh, an apple, nice. One more and I get a health upgrade. But now the first 10 of 20 blessings will have a more substantial boost to play and stats and damage negation, whereas the rest will have a gradually lessening return, save for the final blessing that's supposed to offer you a greater boost as a last. Hooray, you found them all. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. That's entirely fair.
Father, what's the biggest thing you've ever fought?
I do not know.
Can't remember?
Why do you ask?
I don't know. So we can compare.
Oh,
You okay, Mimir?
To the blacksmiths of Svartalfheim, the creation of a weapon was a sacred thing. But Odin just wanted as many blades as he could get, as fast as he could get them. With every stolen resource and mediocre blade, the dwarves lost a bit of themselves.
I think we got everything. That should help with people with pretty much all the bosses leading up to the final boss, since even at nearly max blessings I was still having issues with him, whereas with the others I was pretty much fine. Ah, okay. Now Kratos can keep the doctor away. He sure can. It's Kratos. He does whatever he wants. Like, he just has to look at the doctor and the doctor's like, you know what, I'll come back another time.
Wow, there's a
You know?
lot to explore here.
I'll come back another
Nice to
time,
be
you know?
out of Midgard for a bit, huh?
Okay. Oh, I can craft some more armor. Yeah, let's do that.
is that pure Svartalfheim slag? Give it here. I'll heat up the forge.
Alright, calm down. Oh, it's good it's giving me vitality, so extra health. That is nice. I will take that.
A good fit.
A good fit. does look nice too. I will say that the actual like armor itself looks nice. Oh, I can upgrade? Ooh, I mean... Oh. Why not?
Wear
Okay.
it with pride.
Anything with
Want something in particular?
oh, I can upgrade the increases high luck chance to grant gift of strength or any axe kill. I don't really use the axe though. Rage burst on any blades kill. Okay. Ooh, I can upgrade. Wait, that's what I got. That's what I got equipped, don't I?
That ought to hurt him.
Okay. Oh yeah, I got some artifacts, didn't I? Yep.
That belonged to one of the rebels, didn't it? Glad to take that off your hands and wash it.
I'll
Now,
wash
just
it.
because you've got new armor doesn't mean you should let your...
Oh, why did I upgrade those? Oh, I wasn't meant to. Shit. Huh. But it drops me a level though. Then I mean 16 strength extra for 6 vitality. Actually, we'll keep that.
Self get knocked around more.
Because yes, oh yeah, yeah. I've heard the saying apple that keeps the doctor away. Yeah. I know. That's what you're referring to, right? Because Kratos got an apple,
Over
so
here,
now he can
you
keep
forgot
the.
something.
Gotcha. I got you. I got you. Sorry, I'm picking up what you're putting down now. Right. Where's the next? Okay, then the last one is over there. Okay, let's go grab boat. The Baptist boat.
Because of you.
I am not wrong there, brother. Odin would have wiped out every last dwarf and Svartalfheim. If he couldn't use their skills, no one could.
That sounds like Odin.
No. This is... It can't still be here.
What?
There's a key on this island. I need you to find it, brother. An innocent life is at stake.
Oh, the weight of chains. Have I just accidentally done a side quest for no reason? I have. Nice. Awesome. Not a fan of the axe. We got there eventually. I know, right? We got there eventually. The lights were on, but no one was home for a little while. But it's fine. Hey, fuck off. Bitch. Hey, stop stealing my health.
Coming out of that net.
You die. Bitch. Three. It must be someone old if it involves Mimir. hour. Okay, so I'm definitely missing something here. Can't just interact with that gate. Okay, that's fine. Oh. Found it.
Mimir, you said an innocent life was at stake. Did Odin trap somebody here?
No, lad. I did.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. So it's Mimir's doing. That's why he wants us to help. Rectify a mistake.
Rich, left flank!
Fuck out of here, dude.
The ground looks weak down here, Father.
Sure does. I'm guessing there's a way to move that and then freeze it. Oh wait, ha! I found it. Found it.
That gear. Looks like it would freeze.
Okay. Nice.
Maybe that lift can help us get higher. Might be easier to break that ground from up there.
Okay, so if I drop down.
Hasta la vista,
Oh, fuck.
baby.
Exactly. Hasta la vista, baby. Do-do-do-do. And... Whoop. Whee!
You can break through the ground from up there?
In my sleep. Boom, look at that. Oh, hello. Oh, it's one of those fucking... Yeah, it's one of those nest things on, but it's alive. Bah! Boom, boom, bah, 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 bah. Bah, 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 bah. Oh, fuck yeah, go on. Go on, lad. Games keep us together. Punch. Stab. Stab, 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 stab. Oh, yeah, it's dead.
Right side!
It's a dead.
Mimir, is this it? Over here?
Watch,
Key we're
watch,
looking for.
watchtower
Now we
key.
must head to that watchtower on the shore.
What are you not saying?
I just need you to trust me.
Ah, shit. Okay, so, oh, we were just there, weren't we? Oh, no, it's, yeah, we went that side, and we need to go that side now. Okay, that makes sense. Because, can we go over here? Because there was a chest over here. Ah,
Mimir, how many stories have you told about Odin and Thor? And all the bad things they've done?
guess we gotta wait for the
Let's
water
see
to
how many
drop.
we can remember. Seems like Father could use his memory refreshed.
My memory of them requires no refreshment. They invaded our home.
Yeah, but I'm talking about history. All the other people they've hurt. Let's see. Okay, there was Thamor, the stonemason.
Aye, he quarreled with his son. Went into the night to find him. Found Thor instead.
And there was Thamor's son, Hrimthur.
Who built the walls of Asgard. And whispered something of importance to Freya before his betrayal and assassination. Ah, but enough of that for now.
Yes, enough of that for now. We've got on land. We can't talk stories on land, you know? We've got a watchtower to go to.
Can you hear that?
No.
Thought I heard a voice.
Let's keep going, lad.
Mimir's like, no, you didn't
Just
hear
put the
anything.
key into that lock, brother.
All along the watchtower, am I right? Oh, hold that thought. Get over here for a second.
Bloody Draugr hole.
Oh,
Clear out all these undead bastards.
axe. I need the axe. Ow. That was very nice. Fast little fuck, isn't it? Ow.
You probably already know that.
You're on fire, but you probably already know that. I do. I really, really do. Oh, I need health. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Resurrection stone. Thank you.
Behind you! Incoming!
Ow.
It's bad!
Son of a... No. Oh, you fucker. Ah. Shit. That's my resurrection stone gone, isn't it? Oh, no. Okay.
Bloody Draugr holes. We've got to clear out all these undead bastards.
Ben Edgehouse asked me, which is the more difficult challenge for Welshie, being Dad Kratos of boy Atreus, or getting impaled by Batty Daddy Messmer? Getting impaled by Batty Daddy Messmer sounds like a rough time, but dealing with the constant boy calls from Dad Kratos might just be the ultimate challenge. It's a tough call, just like choosing between a Ford truck that gets the job done and the rest, built tough, just like you.
So, God of War Ragnarok is harder than Elden Ring, confirmed. Cool. Good to know. Oh, block Kratos. You bitch. So close to death. Come on, Trace. Please. Thank you. Oh, no shit, Atreus. No shit.
Won't be hearing any more from those Draugr.
Fuck me. Okay. What do I get for that? Health. Okay. Just a shitload of health. Oh, Blade's Cursed Empress handles. Oh. Hello. You lose 8 strength, but... Low luck chance on any blades hit to grant increase of strength and runic. No. I need some runic attacks. I love that the F-150 knows the boy means. I know, right? Imagine. Okay, let's not use this axe for the moment.
There. If you could give that drum a good loud strike.
Okay. The Wild Serpent or something? Oh, that was that was loud.
What? So that's the voice I heard.
I'd hoped it would have escaped by now, but we'll need to free it from its restraints.
Lingbaka Island. Holy, is that like a whale? Return to the creature. Holy fuck. Okay. Ooh, wait, what's this?
You left something out in the realms.
Oh, right. Oh yeah, I forget that's a thing.
I knew we'd left something behind.
I think we can
Whatever you
upgrade.
need, I'll create. By the way, if you're headed to the mining rigs in the bay, could you bring me any slag you
Yes,
find?
yes, yes, I will.
I could use
Oh,
the
shit.
material for my crafting.
I can see the iron stuff now. Oh fuck. Okay, this is actually a living thing.
What is this?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I captured it many years ago.
For Odin.
Yes. I thought it an imaginative and eye-catching way to earn his favor.
It worked.
That it did.
That it did. Okay, so now we gotta.
You enslaved it.
Aye.
But why?
Because I was young and stupid. And I didn't know what it was like to be chained in one place for years at a time, with nothing to occupy your mind but pain.
Speaking of from experience, I see. I don't know, there's just something so satisfying by using the Blades of Chaos. You know? Oh!
Incoming!
Woohoo! See you later, buddy. Bonk. Also, I think I'm going to coin that phrase. If Lady D is Dommy Mommy, then Mez Baddie is the Baddie Daddy. Hey, you should trademark it quickly. Okay. That's one. Oh, wow. Kratos just like, boop.
Right. We chained the fins too. If you could...
Yeah. Oh, no. Wrong one. Boom!
Easy.
Nice. That's one binding done. Hell yeah.
That creature's hurting.
But we're going to free it.
But it will always be chained. You know that as well as I.
Once you chain for something for so long, it won't know any different.
You're angry with me, aren't you, brother?
I remember the feeling of a yoke around my neck. I would not wish it upon another.
That's. Oh, I'm guessing. I know. Well, I know he was. There was obviously the Ascension, and there's like Chains of Olympus. That were the side games from the original series. So, I'm guessing he's referring to that.
Anything illuminating?
We can either climb up there, or we can go across here. What's up here first? Oop. Ah!
More inspiring lyricism from the mind of Vassia.
Nice. 3 out of 14 poems. Forged iron. Actually, I probably should try and... Oh yeah, Kratos has got a shitload of XP. Oh, I can upgrade the... Oh, I can't upgrade. I might upgrade the Spartan Rage next. That leveled up. Methinks. I can drop down there just yet. No. Okay, that's fine. Let's go the other way now. And down we go. And then whee! It's like a whole... Yeah, I say this is a whole thing. Like it's like a whole dungeon, isn't it? Yeah, if it's Droga, I'm just gonna fight with the axe. I remember the nightmares from the first game. Also, no, from... Bonk.
Why enslave the creature?
Its fat was a good source of oil. But Odin's lanterns.
Oil for lanterns.
Whatever anger you're feeling, whatever loathing toward me, it's nothing to what I've said to myself.
Hmm. Yeah, this is gonna be the other fin, isn't it? Yeah.
The Fen, if you could.
I know.
Oh!
Just the tail left now.
Look out! Red's neck! Watch out! Left side!
Look at that.
The nest was hiding some sort of device.
Oh, firebombs. Oh. Nice. That's another island as well. Oh, there's another thing point there. Boat point.
There's a dock down there, but it looks like it's blocked.
Use that fire thing, maybe? Throw one down there?
Maybe that dock can lead us to the tail. Let's get back to the boat.
Yeah.
Does that surprise you? That an old man would be ashamed of the mistakes he's made?
Oh, that hit home. That stung. Obviously, there's a bit of similarity there. So if I grab the fire burst thing, I can run over there and grab that chest. Quickly, quickly, Kratos, quickly, 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 quickly. I haven't got all day. Wait. Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Alright, Trace. I was just forgetting things. Whee! The cave here, so this is the part of the island that we couldn't explore the first time around. So it's the same part, but because it was underwater, we couldn't do much. And we just explore cabins and stuff. Wait, that's Odin, isn't it?
One less feathery spy.
The Eyes of Odin. Maybe I started. Oh, it's probably like 50 million of those fucking things. Oh, it's 48. Okay. Still, too many. I think I've missed a load too, so. If I see them and I can get them, then I'll try. But no promises. No promises. So where was the boat again? Oh, it's down here. Whee! Let's go around the other side.
I'd hoped the creature would be long expired by now. But apparently the Aesir couldn't even be bothered to mercy kill it once it was no longer useful.
We could kill it.
No. Not when we can save it.
But all hope has not been lost yet.
Huh. There's such a big bay. There's no fish. Must be because of the smoke from those mining rigs.
All hope is not lost yet.
Good. We can reach the tail from this dock.
Has anyone got anything nice planned over the weekend?
I know what it is to be imprisoned like this. I can't just leave it.
And if it is beyond saving,
I don't understand.
let us continue.
Oh. Okay. So Kratos seems to think it's gonna be beyond saving. And then Mimir's like, no, actually, no. Oh gosh, it's like I don't have I forget I have a shield or something. Imagine having a shield in this game. Oh wait, I do. I mean, shields are so last year, right? Shields are lame anyway, it's fine. Oh, handbrake. Apologies.
Left flank, poison!
Hold on, just... Nice. Okay. Oh, let me just open up this door again. Open this chest up. Bing. Oh, okay, I know what I can do then. I can go and grab that. I think really quickly the fire bomb and do that. And then hopefully the ads will finish then. Then we're not missing on like story and stuff. Or rawhide. Yes. Okay. Right, we'll pause it there for a minute. Alright. Hopefully the ads will be quickly to finish. We're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. Thank you, high up. Ooh, we've had a... Can't believe it's been an hour already, actually. It's flown by. We've done two mining rigs, a tower, and now we're doing this little island, living island. Rescuing this beast, and then we'll move on to the next mining tower or mining rig. Get that done, and then we'll continue on with the story then. So it's really nice. Oh, welcome back to the answer, everybody. Okay, this is the last piece of the puzzle. There you go.
Tail must be chained as well.
Whoa.
Sliding down that rope should take us where we need to go.
And then... Bing! There we go, we did it.
You're free!
We did it!
What's going on? Maybe it needs a little encouragement. Can you get me closer to its eye for a face-to-face, brother?
Ooh, is he gonna want to do that? Are you sure that's a good idea? Oh, shield attachment. Rod of Aggravation. I mean, yeah, why not? Oh, nice. Whoa, what's happened here?
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything with that yet.
That must be a quest for another time. What's over here then? Nothing! Okay, let's just go down here then. Right, let's see, let's go see this, let's get Mimir to talk to this thing.
This creature, the mining rigs, they're mistakes, Mimir. But it's Odin's fault.
That's not an excuse, little one. But thank you for saying it.
Like he said, he just wanted to
The mining
impress.
rigs sure spit out a lot of smoke.
Wanted to impress Odin and make sure he wasn't enslaved. Then he ended up being enslaved. We're gonna get sucked in, aren't we? Sorry. Oh, yep.
Go on, you great blubbering beast. Shoo! It's not moving. Why is it not moving?
It has grown accustomed to its chains.
No. No, we can fix this. We just need to chase it off. Scare it. Something.
There is no making things right. Only better than they were.
It likes the wind blowing on its face. I can feel it.
May provide some comfort.
That's not enough.
It seldom is.
Say maybe it's just happy here. Now it's free. It can move whenever it wants to. There we go. That's that done. The weight of chains. Okay, so next
Back to
stop.
Thor and Odin stories? Where were we? There was Groa, of course.
The knowledge keeper and prophet
Enough.
of Rag.
Yeah, Grace is like, no.
Smell the smoke?
So if I do skills. Okay, so we got 3,000. So Spartan Rage, let's upgrade that. 8,000 for the next one. Upgrades decrease the Spartan Rage cost of each attack. I can so if I Blaze of Chaos, I can get this as 750 ones. So Spinning Chaos, Evasive Embers. You got ranged. Look. And then Atreus, I could get Atreus grabbed enemies for longer and enhances powerful strike. Enhances powerful strikes caused by critical grants grab target. Yeah, we'll get that. Get that.
There's another mining rig here.
You speak of your deeds with shame. Do you regret not allowing Odin to kill them?
I don't. No.
He said he didn't, but then didn't say with much conviction, did he? Didn't really hold any conviction with that.
Bet we could swing across that, lift thing.
Gantry.
Gantry. Thanks. That's gotta be the right spot.
Okay, so you can have in different spots. That's interesting. What was that? Oh. Hello, hello, Raven. Thank you very much. Bing.
Barrels. I smell fuel. Bet a spark from your blades would cause quite a boom.
Like that, you mean? Like that.
I think we could break through the ground here, if you found a high enough place to drop from.
Ah, okay. And then you can make your way across from there. Makes sense. Come on, Kratos. Use that strength. Big, strong boy. So you can climb up around there.
Hey, father, up there.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. I'm just observing. Calm down.
Surprised the dwarves didn't shut these rigs off themselves.
One or two tried. The Einherjar made examples of them.
They killed the dwarves? Couldn't you have convinced them not to?
Aye.
Could have convinced them, but he chose not to. Yes. Oh, hello. Oh, now I'm on the bottom floor. Hello. Is this the basement? Hacksilver. Let's see.
Huh. Impressive.
New rune read, the Squasher.
That should help.
That should help. Does it though, Atreus? Does it? And then I'm guessing we go here. We go. Oh no, that's right. That's actually right. That's correct. Never mind. I'm just talking absolute nonsense. Again. And then we go hop, swing. Take that down. Oh, okay. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I just had a brainwave. I just had a brainwave. Hold, 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 hold. No, wrong way, wrong way. Damn it. That way, that way, that way. Drop down. I can swing across. Blades! Aha! There you go. Now we're cooking with oil. Forged iron. Nice. Extra resources so we can upgrade things. Good stuff. And now we'll move this back up. That. Actually, we don't even need to because we got the chain now, haven't we? So we don't actually even need to. We can just run over here and climb. Huh, nice. They're so convenient though, these chains that just happen to be shortcuts, you know? They're just so convenient. Alright, what are we fighting now? Roger, I guess? Fuck off. Bitch. Bonk. Bonk. Fucking spawn it. Spawn rage. Bang, 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 bang. Atreus. Boosh, boosh. Nice. Got our health back. And now we cut. Bonk. And then whop. Cut that shit down, baby.
It is done.
If you could call so meager a task done. A wee drop out of the Asgardian occupational bucket.
You must live with your deeds, but do not be troubled by them, brother.
Oh? And why not?
You were given an impossible problem. Do not blame yourself for failing to solve it.
I'm sure the dwarves would feel differently. This doesn't fix things.
No, but it is a start.
A reminder, brother. That Svartalfheim slag we collected could be of considerable use in the hands of Rock or Sindri.
Yes, it would be indeed. Ah, this is a shortcut back down. Would have known. Who would have known, eh? Right. We can't just warp there, can we? Can we? No. We gotta, yeah. So let's go back to Sindri.
The air smells a lot cleaner. Must be because we shut down the rig.
Go back to Sindri and get that last armor piece, and then we will start the story. Well, not start, but continue. Oh, that's what it was.
Fish are coming back.
Oh, so they are.
It was an Odin, even.
I'm here for you.
I get 5 less defense, but more health.
Huh. That might be my best piece yet today.
What's level? Ooh.
A good fit.
It's level 3, the same as that. So that makes... so Stun grabbing enemy grants a health burst. That's nice. And then because I have the... Oh, so my reduces how quickly enemies' stun bars drain. So 50%. Ooh, that's actually quite good. Can't lie. That's not bad. Not bad. I got an artifact. Bumper finishes to increase damage.
And it's covered in blood. Thanks.
And
What can I
it's
make for
covered in blood. Thanks. Okay, so... But then if I up... Oh, okay, so I can't upgrade that, but if I upgrade that... Upgrade... The current level, it's... Okay, so it goes up to 8. Okay, so I have... My luck will increase by 9. I will lose 4 strength. Oh, go on then. Round of Volition. Full shield. I need 2 more slag deposits. Or if I just do... Oh, actually. High luck chance to grant a rage burst when parrying. Or gives you vitality. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm strong doing that.
May it strike true.
Nice. Oh, so we're still tier 2 at the moment. So that's fine. I wouldn't mind a Chaos Flame. That'd be nice. That'd
I'll
be pretty sweet.
disinfect my tools.
Disinfect my tools. That's funny. Need a load of forged iron at this point. Okay.
Be safe.
Labor complete. Noalith's finest armor.
Oh, hey. You left something behind out there. All polished and ready to go.
I thought I left items. I was like, oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so at this point now, done that rig. Yeah, there was something there. We've done the boat dock. We've done the watchtower. We've done the Radzian's rig. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. We've done that rig. Done that island. There's a Bay of Bounty over there, which we've gone to. Yeah, let's follow the main story. Appreciate it.
Move this man!
Hi, Luca.
What
Boo
other
this
terrible
man
acts have
indeed.
Odin done? You can't forget him. Here, the first giant.
Odin
Ooh,
carved him
this
up from the
man.
realm from his body, and let the torrent of his blood nearly drown every giant alive.
What about the giants of Jotunheim? They all seemed dead when we finally made it there.
That remains a mystery. Though admittedly, it sounds like the Aesir god's dream.
What about Fjorgyn? Thor's mother was a giant, wasn't she?
Indeed she was. The circumstances of her demise were murky at best.
Ah, yeah,
Not
fair.
sure I can blame Odin for that one. He wasn't the same after.
Oh, I know. There was Skavi, the queen of the hunt.
Aye, she spurned Odin's affections, so he tricked her into killing her father.
Starcast
Nice.
The Jotnar military.
Let's just trick someone to...
Landed by
Yeah,
Odin,
okay.
tricked and murdered by Thor.
And there was Sven the Penny. Room near the Brawler, the stone giant.
Aye, mocked by Odin, murdered by Thor.
Enough of this.
But there's more.
I do not care. War with Odin is not the answer.
Well, I got a funny feeling it's going to end up being that way. What on earth is this? weird looking chest. I did. To be honest, I didn't even see what that tear from the world tree even did.
What do you think it means? Seen more raiders
even know what
come
that
back
did.
as Hellwalkers lately. I thought freeing
Don't
the
even know what
Valkyrie
that
Queen
did.
was supposed to restore balance to the realms and keep that from happening.
That's a good question, lad. And a troubling one. If Hell's filled up again, it suggests that something's been hindering Sigrun's efforts. Or perhaps something even more urgent is keeping her distracted and unable to visit. Even occasionally.
Yeah. Sorry, Mimir.
Goes back again. There goes back again. Yeah, there goes back. All chests are weird looking. Hmm. Depends on who you ask, I suppose.
We're looking for Derlin?
You have an appointment?
No. We're just like, it's your show.
Has anyone ever had an appointment here?
Oh, hi. Look at me. I've got an eye patch stuck to my face.
Collect on something, pal. Think parading a severed head around on your hip is gonna scare
Think he
me
sounds
into some
significant.
estrogen secretion proposal, eh?
We are looking for a prisoner of Odin's.
It's a wonderful thing. What do you mean? I mean,
Friends of ours said that you could help.
Where did you
got me there. You got me there.
You chopped the head off.
You are.
That's it.
Oh, no, you are, dude. Instructions like dick stuck in fang. I wanted to do a windmill, but that was not what I wanted to do. It was not my intention.
Dina and I wondered where she went after our little coup here failed.
Failed?
Failed?
Jump, jump, jump. Failed.
Faye is dead.
Best of them all. One's left alive after pay the price. I'm afraid I can't help you with your little prisoner situation.
But he could have answers on how to stop Odin. And free Svartalfheim from the Aesir.
Now, I'm not in the business of crossing the old father anymore. Right, before you go.
Like that. It might kill you. It might not. Oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? Nice! Just inked. It's inked up and ready to go.
Fine. Hygiene code violation for improper transport of a rotting head. 2 demerits for speaking the All Father's given name, and, yeah. For fucking up my desk!
A fine?
Pay it at your leisure, okay?
I quite like this guy.
Get out of my office.
He's like, fuck off.
Hey there.
So what about get out of my office? Don't you understand?
Actually, no, if I
You
just...
said her name was Diener? Oh,
Hi again!
thank you.
Hold on. How you doing, buddy? I wouldn't change the world, except when I would. But we don't talk about that. I might be a bit drunk. Oh, no worries, Zuko. You have a good time, buddy. We're here if you need. Bam 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 bam. Yeah, I'm kind of having a good time. You know why?
Lecken_Squirrel rated my stream.
I don't know why. Why? Welcome in, Lycan. How was? I think I'm pretty sure you were playing Horizon Zero Dawn. How was the game? How was it? How was it, buddy? Yeah, oh, you might. Oh no way! Congrats, Luco. But yeah, yeah. Hey, congrats, my guy. Fucking deserve it, dude. You go have fun, all right? You go have fun, dude. Pretty fun. Having trouble with a hunting ground challenge, but for real fun. Oh, okay. What? Yeah, I mean she's at work. Oh, okay. I thought she was like with you. I was like, oh, you know, don't mean to like rain on your parade or anything. But which hunting ground challenge were you doing, Lycan? But yeah, welcome in, Raiders. For those who don't know me, I'm Marsh Bandicoot. I'm a variety streamer of some sorts. And we are playing some English God of War Ragnarok. That's what we're playing. We're just having a cutscene with Durilin, who was meant to help us with something, trying to find Tyr, the God of War in this Nordic universe. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at the minute. We just done some side stuff as well. We just took down some mining rigs and whatnot. And yeah, that's kind of where we're fairly early in the game. I have to tie down a bull and shoot off a belly. Oh, okay. So you got to use like a trip caster then of some sorts, if I'm not mistaken. You probably need the trip caster to like, or yeah, would it be the trip caster? Oh no, it might no rope either trip caster or maybe even a rope caster actually, because if you load multiple ropes at it, you can tie it down and then shoot off the belly. Yeah, probably a rope caster, probably your best bet. Like the trap, the trap caster, trip caster can trip it, but then obviously it might get back up again. So you're probably your best bet is a rope caster. It's I keep blowing up the belly and dying. Oh no. The thing I can think of is like if it's weak to like fire or something or another, or like high impact arrows, just use that and shoot it from afar. I would. I wouldn't get too close, like you said, because it would probably kill you, like it has done. Yeah, this guy just told us to fuck off, so that's what we're doing.
Hey, this isn't a fine.
Not now. There are enemies ahead.
Hi. Guten Tag. Merci beaucoup. How are the Empress? Excusez-moi? Oh, no, not fucking poison. God damn it. Oh, secret area. I think I need to use the purple arrows, but I'll see. Oh, the blast arrows? Yeah, is it the tear arrows? Because, yeah, they're pretty good for tearing off parts, actually. So, yeah, that might come in handy. I know you can get certain ones. I think, is it Karja or is it... It might be something else. I'm not sure if it's Karja or if it's a different one. I know you can get a blaster weapon. You get it from a quest. You can get it off somebody, and it basically say it like blasts. It's like a big vacuum that you shoot, and it just tears off components. So maybe that might do it. I think that's one of the few games, Horizon Zero Dawn, that I've actually got a platinum in. So I actually got the platinum trophy for the base game. I haven't got it for the DLC, but I got it for the base game. Much to the yeah. They sell weapons and stuff. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think some of them you can get like special ones, and they're from like doing quests. So I'll have to try and watch your VOD or something, or catch you next stream, and if I can, and give you a hand. But like I said, if you need to raid and run, Lycan, please do. Don't wanna hold you. You know, if you had a bit of a long session, or if you need to eat and whatnot, then don't let me hold you. You know, life is more important than just watching me just spam a button and try and do terribly at God of War Ragnarok. You know. It's the last guy. Oh, guy. Wait, it's not even human. And it's not even human. Like, why are you calling? Anyway, why do I suck so much? Out of here. Aye. Ooh, a magic carp.
Okay.
I know what they are.
Saying, I think Derlin wrote down directions.
The dwarf has given us a map.
Sort of. You smelled him? But it seems to lead to a mine beyond that mountain.
Ah,
Dear! Derlin helped us anyway.
not everyone uses axes and arrows to fight.
Very true, very true. I appreciate that, Lycan. I know it doesn't sound like it, but I do. Maybe I don't appreciate it as much as I think I do. I mean, maybe as much as I should.
That big gate looks like it leads towards the mountain. It could be a way to the mine.
I didn't want to go that way. No. Fucking Kratos, goddammit. But I appreciate everyone popping in. I think don't hold me on this. I think we might be back up to 600 followers again. Maybe. Oh, and we are. Let's go. Things you'd love to see. Okay. Yeah, Alpha. Ah. Is that literally it? Okay, so I need to go that way anyway, no matter what. Okay, that's fine. That's fine, okay. 1 hour, 41 minutes in. Okay, okie doke. So yeah, we're going to bid on it. We're going to go. Say for those who've come in, newly come in. We're going on a bit of a modern trend for the next couple of games. So we've got God of War Ragnarok that we're doing now, and then we've also got Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and then we'll be playing Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. I know it's been out for a few years, but I haven't had. I don't say I haven't had a chance, but I've been holding off.
Take that train up the mountain when you're ready, brother.
Yes. I've been holding off getting it, playing it until I streamed Zero Dawn again. Okay. Right, let's go on a little train ride. I'm sure nothing's going to go wrong here. Zero Dawn, huh? Indeed. Nothing's going to go wrong here. I'd be shocked if we end up in one piece.
Heimdall. There's a name I don't miss hearing.
No one said it until you did. just now?
Durling. He didn't need to say it, brother. It was written all over his face. Well, burned, I should say. Into his head.
He burned that into Durlin's head?
Failed rebellions tend to warrant swift and enduring retribution.
Oof.
He is a captain of Odin.
Aye, and the bearer of Galahorn. True believer that.
Oh, that's the mass. Isn't Gjalhorn the
A man has lack of doubt.
a horn? Like the big, like, it looks like a wolf, like a, not wolf tusk, but like a tusk of some sort.
Seems like we're here. Come on.
I don't know. I'm maybe
This way.
misremembering.
I can see another train. Let's look for a way to get over there.
The Forge. This isn't Halo.
No. Maybe finding Tyr is our best protection. Seemed like Odin really didn't want us to find it. Once Tyr's free and can be god of war again, Odin won't have time to worry about us.
If that is his war to fight, he may have it.
Okay. Nothing is Halo. Halo is infinite. That's what. What do you mean? Halo isn't Halo anymore. I don't know. I didn't mind. I enjoy.
Deactivated, but yes. Likely one belonging to Barry, the dwarf, builder of the Great Hall, Lua.
Good to know, I guess. Oh, that's cracked in half. Original Light Society's a joke. There we go. Okay, so we got. Oh.
I think we need some special equipment to use this.
Really?
I don't think this is working, brother. Maybe we should come back.
Maybe we have to go back. What's up here? Oh. That looks fine. That's not going to murder us, is it?
Whoa! Is that a Trekkie? What happened here?
Use caution.
I think it's dead.
I think.
Yep. Definitely dead. Hey, I wonder if...
Just, yeah, because obviously just kicking it is going to work, right? You know? I always thought, like, if you just kick it once, it's a good one, right? Yeah, you little bitch. Oh, little fucker. Look at me, I'm blocking. Wow. Wow, crazy. Ow. Never mind. That lasted all about 3 seconds. No. Fuck. Well, now you got lightning? Oh, right, yeah, that's... Ah. Yeah, I'm saying about to die. I was about to die. That was really good timing with that Spartan Rage. Did I just attack it as it... Oh. Oh, run away, run away. You little bitch. Alright, time for you to die. Oof, nice.
That one was tough.
Stay on your guard. There could be others around.
Ooh, dragon's tooth. Ooh, nice.
Think that Drekius will
Oh,
kill the first.
I gotta. Oh, yes. Languish. Ooh, a quick uppercut that creates a fiery. Now, Geyser? Or was it Geyser? I can never remember how it's pronounced. Is it Geyser? No, that sounds wrong. No, I don't know. Oh, you use Kratos XP to upgrade the runes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I know that, and that's what's putting me off. I'm like, yeah, no, it can't be that. Geyser? Yes, I've just done that. Calm down. There'll be L1 and R1 with the blades then.
If so, it was their aggression that got them both killed.
Geyser's a date. Is it a dating app? Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't even know. Geyser. Ah, that's it. Yeah. Geyser. Which is also a dating app. Okay. Okay, there's a gap over here. I can never remember how it was pronounced. Geyser. Good to know.
Down there, I can see a mine. That has to be what Derlin was talking about.
Mine. Oh yeah, there is a mine.
Might be another train we can take.
Father, what if a war with Odin isn't just Tyr's to fight? What if it's ours too?
War is not the only way.
Yeah, you pronounce it Geyser? Okay. I think I'll just go with that for now. And then if I get corrected, I'll get corrected. No big deal. Whee! Look at this platforming. I mean, you're the native English speaker here. True. That is, you are correct. But it's just not a word I use a lot or at all. So I'd probably have to Google it, maybe. I don't know, or just get up online or something. I don't know.
Looks like we have to get this one back on the tracks.
Geyser. No, it wouldn't be Geyser. How is it spelled? So it's Geyser? No, I know. You could be pronouncing it wrong too. Yeah, I know.
This thing is small. Okay, we need to go left. Wait, I meant my left. Hopefully that's it. Keep going. We're so close. Just a little to the left.
What, your left or my left?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Round 2. Here we go.
Geyser? Say it again. So it's Geyzer. Oh no, it's not Z. It's S. Sorry, Geyser. Sorry.
Oh, Diener.
Means the DNA of the soul. Exactly.
Thinking we could show it to Brock and Sindri when we got back.
That's pronounced Geyser. It is it? But we know it could be pronounced shit and fun. Exactly.
We came here
Who
looking
knows?
here because we don't trust Odin, right?
Who knows?
If you think about it, war could. On your left.
Oh, hello. Hi. Punch.
Tell me when.
Atreus, look for a break to stop the train. Should be a leader of some sort.
fine. This is fine.
Stop this train!
You gotta stop the train, CJ.
I think it's about to.
No!
Chris is like, shit. Ooh. I think we're fine.
Get up!
Father! A troll?
Oh, lovely. We'll find one of these again? Oh, that's his head. Huh. I done that too. If I say yeah, yes, we are, Ben.
Are you serious?
We are. Oh, Snorlax.
Behind you! Incoming!
Bang. It is. It is the gods of the war. Yes, this is the second one. There's 2 games where we've got a son.
That's crazy. All of it.
And this is the Norse mythology. Thor, Odin. Oh. I don't know. Well, we've killed Thor's brother, one I think, or and sons in the first game, but I don't know what happens in this one. Nope. I have not. I played it last night, so I'm a little. Well, I'm like 4 or 5 hours in to the game. Don't know how far that is, or I don't really know. We'll see.
Behind you! Incoming!
Ooh. Yeah, he likes the cutting of the head. Ah. Oh, well, you think this is bad? The first 3 games are even worse. There's a bloodthirst. Where's that last enemy? Ah. There we go. Drop down. Nice. So if it's like pulsing green like that, Stun can like shoot it with an arrow and it like gets rid of it. There might be like hidden things or puzzles and stuff.
This place is incredible.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh, all right, okay. That's what I was looking out for. Nice. Nice. There. Oh, no worries, no worries. Have a good night. Hello. Oh, it is pronounced geyser? Okay. I wasn't too sure. I was trying to Google it, but then I ended up with the whole minecart thing. It was like, no. I beg your pardon.
Sometimes the most obvious methods are the best.
Getting old. No longer of use.
But enough about you. I'm talking about the whetstone.
Mia got him there, didn't he? Ha. So I think it's more. So what from what I'm reading of it, I think if people, oh well, in the UK, I think we call it a geyser, but then I think I'm assuming more US peeps call it a geyser. From what I'm understanding, I could be wrong, unless from what I'm reading of it. Maybe that's why I said that first time around. See, now, like, every time I say the word, I'm like, is that right? Is that wrong? I don't even know anymore.
So, wipe the mouth you had on the train, lad.
It's just a word. I've heard way worse from
The word does not matter. You lost control.
We were falling through the air. I thought we were gonna die.
Is that what you truly wish your last word to be?
Shit, 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 shit. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good way to die.
Panic is nothing. Harness it. Let it serve you.
Just imagine, like, at a funeral, like, yeah, you know, well, I was there when he passed away, and these were his last words. Shit, 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 shit. Oh, fuck. Oh, oh, fucking shit. Yeah. That's how I want to go. I don't think that's happening anytime soon, so. I hope not.
Look on the ground. Tracks. These must lead into the mine. We'll need to get past this cargo.
Do. Okay, so what do we do? Oh. Okay, I need to go up. Maybe not. Stop yawning, can't stop yawning.
Looks like the water powers the crane that's keeping the cargo up.
Yeah. If I go close to that, I can't. Oh, wait, so we need to. Oh, okay.
Brother, think freezing it could stop the water.
Hey, looks like you stopped the water flow in that trough.
Ah, thank you. Okay, I'm very stupid. Thank you. Thank you for realizing.
There's a brazier to the left of the chest. Maybe you can light it?
Good bet there's a couple more near here. Let's find him, yeah?
Yeah, let's find him. By the way, you've only had 4 hours sleep today? Damn. How are you even functioning, Jags? That is impressive. As well as concerning. Ooh, fighting.
Is cooperative in large scare quotes.
The pit pine. Okay. Let's go fly a kite. Okay, so we got that chest open very quickly. We'll admit. Oh, wait. Huh? Did I miss one? Thought I lit that. Oh, is it on a timer? Wait. Huh? Oh. Oh, ants. Right, okay. Ooh, maximum rage. Or one of two. Horn of Bloodmead. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to take this opportunity, as there is ads, to stretch, eat, and grab a drink. So I will be right back in a bit. I'll be about 5 minutes or so. So, back soon. Minecart madness. Oh, you have got to be... Oh, yep, it's at the minecart level. Oh, goody. Oh, I pressed load instead of... Press load. I pressed load. Instead of create, I pressed load. I'll do this again. That's 2 or 3 times I've done that now. I did it.
That bitch knows what she's doing.
Oh my god. Somebody clip that. Holy moly. You just got straight up run over. Okay.
Footsteps!
Nah, fam. You didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anything. Oh, you're going the wrong way. What are you doing? Oh, hang on. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
I'm seeing things. An explosion?
That was fucking amazing. I'm not gonna lie. So we'll just see how it goes, I guess. But yeah, it goes nothing. Oh, that's not birthday cake. Oh, oh, fuck. I think we shall. I'm doing well, but just submitting job applications. Nice, nice. Hope one of them gets upset. Brain, come on, gets accepted. There we go. That's the terminology I was looking for. I've just noticed. Yeah, I suck with the storytelling. I feel the same way when people approach me. Savage changed color again. Oh, are we doing this? Oh, I'm ground. Howdy. Oh. Chat's out of control.
Finally starting to learn.
Who are you?
I'm you. Oh wait, actually, I didn't mean. I didn't know that was going to happen. I swear I haven't played this game.
Now live and breathe.
That was my dark side.
Oh, I need to clip that.
Once. And ever since, it's
I get money for it too. Oh. Yeah, paid to touch women. Wait, no, that sounds wrong. Oh god.
They got one puzzle and that that one puzzle in the Uncharted where you have to like direct the beams into that
Oh, into the
sword.
Yeah. I think I know the one you mean.
The big version of the dagger. But, yes, don't use that. Clip that. Clip that. Welsh. That's
Oh, this car is flying. Just goes. Oh, yeah, and then it goes into a tree. Nice. You heard it here first. Welsh hates it when it's went. Oh, this wall was 3s and 2s. Nice, okay. Oh, I just realised I can just do the shortcut, can't I? Or fall off. One of those two. Ooh, okay, I'm back. Alright. Thank you for everyone who's to the ads or had a good stretch break when the ads were running. I appreciate it. Oh, I was gonna say, if I hit, that would have been amazing. I'm not gonna bother.
I might be able to get up there if you help me.
Up where? I guess here. Whee!
Great. I'll head across for a better look.
Yeah, you do that, bud.
Father, there's a gate up here heading towards the entrance to the mine. If you can get up here, I'll need your help lifting it.
If
Oh, come on. You can jump that. Your knees aren't that bad.
Atreus.
That was close. Try again. I hope you can make that jump.
I can, don't worry.
It's another one of those wooden troughs. I wonder how the dwarves thought of stuff like that.
Aye, might be the great motivator of convenience. Why do the work when you can get the wet stuff to do it for you?
Hey, nice. Stuff.
Sure hope Tyr's here.
Atreus, we seek information,
I know. Stop acting like I'm trying to start a war.
yet you do not say otherwise.
Brothers, maybe we can lay this to rest a bit, eh?
Oh, right there. That's what I was saying. Now what? And then. Ding.
You lift on your side, I will lift on mine.
I'll say, come on, Kratos.
Heavier than I thought. Thanks.
Strongest Kratos is, I'm sure you can actually jump really far. Oh yeah. Probably not as much as you used to, you know, back in the OG trilogy. But you could probably jump quite far. You probably could. Like, he's still a spring chicken. You know what I mean? You know, compared to... the average. But he is a god of war, so it makes sense. Okay, so
Maybe you can hit it from a different angle.
oh, you know what? You might be onto something there. It might be onto something there. Oh, I gotta get around there, haven't I? They say he's stronger than his past self. Oh, well then if he's stronger than his past self, then yeah. Oh, hey, Sindri. This fucking turns up out of nowhere.
Got something else for you.
Sindri!
What is it?
Since you're currently lacking a light source, sorry, and have no way of seeing exactly what untold horrors lurk in the dark, these will help. Okay, back to
Light
your exploring
bulbs.
now. Off with ya.
Thanks, Sindri. Hey, wait, what do you mean by untold horrors?
They just pop and they disappear. Are these fucking lizard men again? Ah, damn it. Oh, Power of the Empress 2. Woohoo, baby. I mean, that's crazy. Oh, Power Empress 3. Nice. That's fun while it lasted. Ow.
To the left.
That hurt. That really hurt. Oh. Nice. Let's go.
That was close.
It was fine, Atreus. I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. Ah.
Whoa. Are you seeing this? That huge crane's moving this way.
Oh wait, why? Oh, that's good, right? We get item. We get item, please. Item, please. Oh. Oh. Oh wait, what's so funny?
Yes, sir.
If I freeze it. Never.
See you on the other side.
Whee!
Romir, what is the likelihood Tyr is imprisoned in this mine?
Darlin might have been as well oiled as this crane, but I don't believe he'd lead us astray.
Wait.
You think the lad's too trusting?
He is eager to prove himself. It clouds his judgment.
Oh, I know you have more faith in him than that, brother.
Have I gone the right way accidentally? God.
What became of Kvasir?
Ripped apart by his audience. Well, one member of his audience. Well, Thor.
Oh. Held it. And ripped apart by Thor, I guess. Pummel of the Undying Spark. Ooh. Strengthen Runic. Increases the damage that the burn status inflicts on enemies. Ooh, wow. Interessante. Oh, I can level this up. I think I'd rather level up skills at the moment for Kratos. That. And then... Glacial Rake, Serpent Snare. Oh wow! You can throw weaker foes into a group of enemies. That's quite nice. Hold on, I want to drag the ice through. Yeah, we'll buy these. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's that done. After doing Frost Awaken to slash upwards, and yeah, I'll go. That's quite good, Serpent Snare. But then I need to level up. I need to get a Chaos Flame for this freaking blades, man. I really, really do.
Find anything?
We keep moving.
Nope, nothing. It was terrible. Worst idea of my life. Ooh. Oh, these to do with the light sources?
I think this is it.
Oh.
This is the mine.
Intriguing. However, we're ill-equipped to do anything with it right now.
Oh, okay.
Look out! Gotcha! Well, looks like the official entrance to the mine is blocked. But there's gotta be another way.
Maybe.
This way.
Nice. Not a dead end. Come on, let's see where this goes. You guys again?
There's no end to them.
Where are they all coming from?
Probably some sort of nest.
I think I can hear the water too.
Slow down, Atreus. Take care. Be ready.
Oh, that's a big boy.
So, I think I found where those wretches were coming from.
They will overwhelm you quickly. Stay close.
Behind you! Look out! Behind you! Incoming!
Fuck you.
Behind
Yeah.
you! Incoming!
I got half his health now. I got half his health off. Bad. Punch. Stab. 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 Stab.
That thing was nasty. Yo,
Oh, it was, huh?
the
Right,
smell
let's...
these things leave behind is so gross.
A small consequence for disturbing their home.
That's
Keep
small.
moving.
Small consequence. It's a small tidbit, isn't it? Oh, shattered rune. Oh, nice.
Maybe we can ride this boat thing further into the mine. Worth a shot. I'm sorry. I know you said not to, but I can't stop thinking about this. We spend all of our time fighting bad stuff, and I don't get why we can't do that alongside Tyr.
We do not know him.
We saw his shrines. He's a leader. He stood up to Odin when no one else would. If he's done it before, why wouldn't he do it again?
Images from long ago do not tell a whole story.
Whee!
There's a door. Once we get off this, let's check there for Tyr. He's gotta be close. I can't help but feel like you're angry with me or something. Ever since we got to Svartalfheim, you've been critical of my every move. If you don't think I can lead us, just say so.
It is not your competence that is in question.
Okay? But what does that mean?
Consider your intent.
Full
This
core.
is huge. Must have taken ages to build.
I'm just knocking into the wall. That hugs the boat. Don't.
Another door. We'll have to check that one too.
Bird's instructions do not say which one.
Nope, we're on our own here.
Am I meant to
Question
press?
from before about my intent. I intend to help the god of war stop Odin, and that means freeing him from whatever prison he's in right now.
Brace yourselves, friends,
Sindri?
Oh, hi. Oof.
and be careful exiting that thing. 1 foot at a time. There are loose, rusty nails everywhere.
Have you seen any signs of Tyr?
As if I would navigate this maze of running sewage. No, I'm sure you'll manage that on your own.
I don't know. The water looks pretty clear here.
Keyword, looks.
Always lucky. Well. I don't know if it's lucky. Huh. Oh, I can have... Oh, wait. When did I get a Chaos Flame? Huh? I mean, I'll take it.
Fire's actually a disinfectant, so these are very
Nice.
hygienic.
Oh. Radiant Warden handles. While charging Flame Whiplash, incoming projectile attacks will be deflected. Ooh, that's quite good. Oh, I might use if I get another Rawhide, I might upgrade that again. Because it's instead of having strength and luck, it'll be strength and cooldown. Yeah. Typical now as well. I can.
I'll heat up the forge.
Oh, I can upgrade this. Level 3.
Wear it with pride.
Thank you. I will. Don't you worry.
Poor souls. Fighting the Aesir is a thankless job, as you well know. Want something in particular?
Okay. Need forged iron. More forged iron. One rawhide away.
Take care of your armor, and it'll take care of...
And now I can go to the Blades of Chaos. I've unlocked new stuff. Scorched Earth. 1. Pardon me. Immolation. Perform melee attacks in quick succession without seeing damage to power up the Blade of Chaos and inflict burn damage on every hit. Ooh, yes. I like that. Extends Chaotic Rampage with an additional attack. Hold R1 to unleash a high damage flurry of attacks on a single enemy with the blades in hand. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll try that out. You must forge your way forward by creating the path ahead of you. Exactly.
Look, there's a door just across this gap.
Exactly.
Right there.
Whoever wrote this certainly had an eye for detail.
Okay.
The water flow's blocked.
Means we got to do something. Oh, hang on.
Sounds like you got the water moving along, brother. What next?
Freeze it. Oh, break it there. Bonk. Oh no, freeze it there because it'll divert. Yeah,
Get to the door. Come on.
yeah, that makes sense.
Tyr?
Well, I certainly don't think this is where Tyr currently is.
He's got to be here somewhere. This mine is huge.
Atreus, what do you intend to stop Odin from doing? You speak as if you know his plan.
I don't know his plan. That's why we're...
Brothers. With Fimbulwinter underway and Ragnarok around the corner...
Notice how Mimir's constantly, like, breaking up the
Whatever he's planning to
conversation.
do surely won't be to the benefit of anyone but himself.
Exactly.
So Atreus has told Mimir something, his old plan, what happens, and Kratos doesn't. And obviously, because of his name is Loki, which is linked to Thor, and Thor's brother and whatnot. So, and the god of mischief and trickery. It's like sowing the seeds, you know. But we'll see, and I will see.
Across the way, there's another door. Maybe that's the one.
Hang on. Oh, nice. Oh, let's go, Kratos. Boy.
Learn anything?
Glad we explored.
Same here, Chris. Same here. I do like this armor outfit. I won't lie. It's very nice. That's cool though. Like, if I can get the upgrade where, like, if I do that whiplash thing, it like deflects. It you know, with the it
That is discouraging.
deflects the projectiles.
Did you see that over there?
Fire. I need a
There's a broken
fire.
door up to the left behind this crane. Maybe Tyr tried to escape. We should look.
Well, the worst thing is now I don't even know if I. The rawhide.
There we go. I think that should keep the lift fully powered up. We're almost there.
Okay, well now what? I go back down?
Outstanding.
okay.
That overflowing water is powering the crane. Clever.
Clever.
We'll be up there in no time.
Yep, so just that
Right.
stays open now.
That'll keep the water flowing over the sides.
Okay, so now I gotta hit them off. Right? No?
That's it. Come on. Let's take that.
Yeah, so you gotta
lift up.
stop
Tyr
one.
can't be far.
Gotta stop one to get it.
Okay, new exercise. side. Let's think about how Tyr's probably feeling locked up in his mind. If I were imprisoned by Odin and finally freed, Odin would obviously be at the top of my list. But I would just want to fight something. Anything. Even if it was just to know I still could.
Loki in Norse mythology is Odin's blood brother. Ah, okay. It's only in the Marvel universe he's the brother of Thor. Ah, gotcha.
Tyr? Whoa, what happened here?
He's the blood brother of Odin. Atreus is. Potentially. It's interesting.
Wretches! On your left!
It's very interesting.
Behind you!
Fucking. Great, just like, please, death, bye.
They certainly weren't Tyr. Best look around.
Is that a relic? Huh.
Ooh, relic acquired. Relics provide a special ability that activates with L1 and circle. Equip the wet relic in the weapon screen. Wait, what the fuck? Talisman of Maine. That's a bonus to melee damage for a short duration. Okay. Activate relic ability with L1 and circle. Okay. Oh, there was something like this in the first game, right? Need 2,500 XP to upgrade it. Okay. We won't do that right this second, but, you know. It's basically a gift of strength.
Behind you! Go!
Fuck out of here, dude.
Juffa! It's clinging to the wall! We gotta knock it down!
Wait.
Poison, right side!
Nice. It's just fucking kicking ass and taking names. Love to see it.
We might be able to get out of here this way.
Kicking ass and taking names. There are two. Just one there was two like hot things like bro. Yeah. Oh. Through here maybe?
Another empty vault.
Little brother, perhaps it's time
No,
we...
don't even say it. We're gonna find him. Look, another door on the other side of the cavern. Let's go.
He's really keen to find Tyr, isn't he?
Let's go.
Really keen.
Up there.
Wonder why.
The path keeps going. We'll just have to.
Odin's
keep up.
definitely told him something. Like what he's gonna do and stuff. It's yeah, and it's probably spooked Atreus big time.
We're above where we got off the boat by Sindri. This mine is one enormous spiral.
A week? Oh wait, that means I can drop down? Oh, I can. That's a shortcut. Wait, is Sindri here? Where's Sindri? I want to speak to Sindri. Sindri! I think you're back there. I think he's back this way, right? Oh, this is the house. Did I get rawhide?
Hardly makes sense to backtrack, brothers. Perhaps there's another exit in the room that didn't hold Tyr.
No, I want to go back and see Sindri.
What's
Give
that
me.
smell? Oh, hello, Atreus.
Hey,
Oh.
Sin.
Oh, hello, Atreus. Damn it, I didn't get any rawhide. Fuck. Bullshit, dude.
Whatever you need, I'll create.
Hmm. Oh, I could sell one of these and... All of the Undyne Spark. That's level 2, actually. Low luck. Deadly Obsidian Handles. Just strength plus 12.
Happy to lighten your load.
It's not actually...
What can I make for you?
Nice. Level 3. There we go. Oh! I got Deadly Obsidian and then you got Cursed. Oh, I didn't even read. Oh, is that what I was using? Cursed? Wait. Is that what I was using? I was using these ones. I was using... Oh, no, I wasn't. Oh, shit. That gives me plus 13 luck, but also plus 3 strength. It gives me... It's a little... It's slightly better in terms of level. I like the Radiant War. I like that because it does... If you mash triangle, it affects projectiles.
I'll disinfect my tools.
Okay, that's good. Let's continue on. What's ET short for? He's only got little legs. True. I was at the library and asked if they had any books on paranoia. The librarian replied, "Yes, they're right behind you." It's behind you. It was I think there's like near Sindri there's a magic magic portal gate thing, so well now I can yeah, so this is where we were. We go down this way. Ah, there we go.
What happened? Why didn't that work?
The chain is blocked.
Should be clear now.
Oh, so now we've got an even quicker shortcut. Let's go. Sindri.
Ready when you are.
Oh. So that's an even easier shortcut to Sindri.
I think I can hear something in there.
Something or someone? Difference, Atreus. It's a difference. I mean the fact that the game is giving me
Not just any statue. That stone visage hung over the entrance to the World Mill, built by Durin the Generous.
the fact that the game's giving me health is scaring me.
Another Draugr
Oh,
hole.
Droga hole. Fuck me. Actually,
You're on fire, Kratos.
I'm on fire.
It will pass.
I am very much on fire. It's very much a thing.
It's fast!
Of course it is. Fucking Droga, dude. Really? It reset? That's disappointing. Get the fucking out of here.
We fought it at the other Draugr hole, didn't we? Odd.
There's 6 of those? Okay, so we've done 2. Okay, Dust of Realms. Nice. Oh, Chaos Spark. Fleeting remains of a Chaos Flame. Collect 6 to restore its true form. Oh, so if you do the Droga holes, you get extra Chaos Flame. I think so. If you do all 6 of them, you get a Droga, you get a Chaos Flame.
Where could he be?
Atreus, this mine is largely a bit.
Fortified Frost Knob. What? Sorry. So it gives me cooldown instead of... Oh, okay, so cooldown is out of strength. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, we'll put that on. Looks nicer too.
It is unlikely.
Here's here. I know it. Derlin's direction stopped at the entrance to the mine. We just have to keep searching until we find him. You said you'd follow my lead, and I say we keep looking. So knock it off.
Watch yourself. I will follow, but I state what I see. You do not agree with me, but you will not speak to me this way. Are we clear?
Sir.
Oh, bitch. Okay, so we go back the way we came? Yes. Maybe he knows how the end of the first game where it shows Kratos dying. Maybe he knows that's going to happen. Maybe he's seen that. And he's like, Kratos, he thinks, well, if my father doesn't get involved, then he won't die. Maybe that's his thinking. Do I need to go back in the house and We got like, couldn't see any exit per se. There's a chest there, but that's about it. Nothing else. Okay. Guess we just have to go back out and then up and down all around. Bada, 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 bada. I mean, there was another way. Was there another way? Ooh. What's the shortcut and then... What if I use the rope? Actually, this is a different area.
One more door. That one has to be it.
We will see.
Seems like we'll have to get to it first. Well, that didn't quite work. Something else we can do?
Well, that didn't work. Go back to the start and try again.
Let's keep looking around. There's gotta be something else.
Climb across. Look for another way.
I think I see a crank over here.
Do you? Gotta crank it.
Atreus, another mental exercise. Would one who spends their life fighting, such as Tyr, have any desire to prove themselves? The proof leaves a wake of destruction.
But if the wake of destruction is a bunch of bad guys, why does that matter? You're strong, and you did the right thing.
War does not measure the strength of a man. I hope one day you understand.
Okay. Does that hold it there, or does... Okay, doesn't. Okay, so I need something to hold the axe in
Hey, it looks
place.
like this machine is dropping ore into the water trough.
Right, and you want me to do what with that exactly? So why would that... There'll be a reason why it's dropping ore. And you can shoot it. Yeah. That does that. Then I need another ice source.
It's gotta be it.
How am I going to get across then to... Oh, Tracy's saying that's got to be it. Oh. Oh. Okay. You hold it long enough for the ore to clump together and block it. Right. That makes sense.
We're almost there.
That makes sense.
Hey, we did it. I'll meet you at the door.
Let's go over here. Yeah. Needed working out. That's all. That's all. Good. We're good.
We still have to go back and check out that last door, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We will in due course. Don't worry.
Tell the ground to be still.
Tell the ground to be still. Okay, that's...
Looks familiar. We're back in the spiral section of the mine.
Yep, that's fine. So we've unlocked that shortcut out, so that's good. Who's that Pokemon?
Did you hear that, brothers? I don't think we're alone.
Ears open. Eyes up.
It's Pikachu.
It came from over
It's
here. There's a
Clefairy.
passage
Fuck.
leading out.
It's got full health, so full health in a dream, right?
Atreus, do my words irritate you?
It's fine. I get it.
Brothers! Wait, is that light up ahead there?
Hey, this might be it. That door's barred. They must be trying to keep something in.
You don't lock a door like that to secure the spare bedclothes.
I see what we must do.
Biafra!
Well, I guess this is it then, is it? We're gonna be the welcome party? Oh. Hello? Frost tags. Einherjar can inflict Bifrost on the health bar. Bifrost heals over time, but follow-up kits can detonate for extra damage.
Tread carefully, brother.
Ooh, fuck you. Okay then. Oh, it's Odin's peeps. Anya?
Behind you, father!
Watch out! On your left!
Ooh, that was close.
Clearly they don't want us in there. This has to be it.
Back to it then.
Where were we? Whee! And there goes the door. It'd be tear, isn't it? Gonna be sitting there.
Tyr!
What trickery is this, Odin? What game do you play with me now?
We're not with Odin. We're the good guys.
Ooh. Which is like, happy?
This is the god of war.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
Blades of Chaos.
I know you. God Killer. You come for me now.
Only to free you.
Stay away. Rather, let me try. Tyr. Tyr. Look, you know me, don't you? You killed Mimir. No.
Yeah, we brought him right back.
You stay away from me, you monsters.
Stop! We need him!
Wait!
Fuck. Pierce in his own bloodthirst to try and get Tyr. Shockingly, he thinks that we're gonna kill him. I mean, imagine to my horror and dismay that Tyr thinks we're the bad guys. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. You little bitch. Have you ever had loaded pepperoni pizza Doritos? I have not. I've seen them, but I never tried them. Are they any good? Sounds nice. Imagine assuming that Kratos, a person known for killing God, is trying to kill you. Killing God's trying to kill you. I know, right? Like, isn't trying to kill you. Well, both, even, I suppose, at this point. Like, yeah, imagine, you know, like, Tyr was obviously going to be like, well, you kill gods. Like, you killed... Now, you killed Thor's brother and his sons. So, like, of course, I shouldn't trust you, really. I mean, it's a fucking no-brainer. Especially when he's been trapped. For God knows how long. They good? Oh, I'll have to. I think I might be out and about tomorrow. So if I see him, I might pick some up, and I'll let you know how I find them.
That's the last of them. Let's find your son.
Well, this music though. Ooh, okay, that's something for later.
Dear, it's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Just leave me alone.
Tyr, listen, I swear we're not here to hurt you. We're just trying to get you
away
out.
from me, please.
Take you somewhere safe,
I
away
beg
from
you.
Odin.
Show mercy.
This is my father. We help people.
I don't belong out here, please. It's worse when he's angry.
Father!
Are you not a soldier? Are you not a leader of men? Master yourself!
Oh, hang on. All the times to have an ad break, it's now. There's also a new cheese flavor as well that will combo with them. Oh, okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I will keep an eye out. Oh, nice. Ooh. Yeah, I'm surprised. I know this is a little bit off topic, but I'm surprised how well the launch of. I know it's early access for Dawn Trail on Final Fantasy 14, so there's going to be another influx of people. Monday, I think it's Monday it comes out. I think it's July the 1st or July the 2nd. It like properly comes out for everybody. So there's gonna be like another massive flood of people. So, but yeah, it's good. I think a lot of people have pre-ordered the DLC. To be fair, I think a lot of people have just pre-ordered the game. Is that the other ones? A triple cheese pizza flavored Doritos? Oh, okay, okay, nice. So that's the two. That's like the main ones that have. Actually, let me Google that. Doritos. So we got. Yeah, I just love me some chili heat wave. Chili heat wave is my go-to. So you got pizza. Is it pizza? Oh, you got loaded pepperoni and yeah, Doritos triple cheese. Okay, that's like the new two. Is that the only two, or is there more? They're both flavored pizza themed flavored Doritos. Mm. Is that the main like sort of two that have come out? Right. Okay. Ads are done. So give me a second. Just we will continue. We'll continue with the cutscene in a second. I think yeah. So the minute. Oh, so the ether. The worlds in the ether data center and the Phoenix world in light data center are the main ones that are congested at this moment in time. Yeah, because you look at like. So I'm looking at the data centers really quickly. Only I'd say about just under half maybe of the Japanese data centers are congested. The rest are standard, so they're not even that bad. But yeah, NA is probably the worst of the two so far. But it's not showing me the European one. Those are the only two I've seen. Probably in the UK based one.
This place. For you! Look at him!
You. Why? You don't know me.
I know what you stood for. You helped the Giants. We're returning the favor.
We?
We are leaving. Are you coming with us?
He a big boy. He's a big boy. It's just like, huh, you are a giant.
Your statue in the lake. You had a spear. I thought you needed a weapon.
Walking stick? No. A kind thought, but no. Thank you, no.
But... Okay.
Okay.
I ran because I don't always know what's real.
Got the same eyes as Mimir.
Sometimes there's
There's no shame in that, brother. We live in strange times.
He talks.
Everyone hears him talk.
Yep.
We must return home.
Looks like he has like an assassin's belt, like Ezio had in Assassin's
Can you
Creed.
feel that? A wind blowing from over here. Maybe there's an exit nearby.
Are there names by which I should call you?
I'm Atreus. You already know Mimir. And that's my father, Kratos.
How does the son of a Spartan come to speak for the Jotnar?
My mother was the last giant in Midgard. Laufey?
Laufey. I remember that name.
She tried to help people too. She's in the light of Alphon now.
You have my sympathies.
He's just not been a complete dick. Oh.
Are you okay?
These are just much stronger when you're not sitting down. Please, let me get that. It's the least I can do.
Yeah, Tyr is an assassin, confirmed.
Whoa.
Whoa, dude. Yeah, it's like, alright.
Why risk Odin's wrath to free me?
Well, Ragnarok is coming. I hope you knew that. We thought you'd want to help.
You freed me only to start a war?
No.
So Tyr, it's good to see you in the flesh.
No,
again.
no, I didn't mean that.
Mimir, what's become of you?
Following in your footsteps. Betrayal, indefinite imprisonment, execrable torture at the hands of the Old Father.
You didn't deserve such treatment.
Did you? I will say my view was a touch better than yours.
We found him at the top of a mountain with tree roots wrapped all around him. The only way to free him was to... well, that.
Highly pleasant for all parties involved.
You okay?
The light.
I might.
It's been so long.
There's an outcropping just ahead. The shade will make it easier on your eyes. Come on.
You
said-
swear.
Ragnarok is coming.
Okay, so we're all the way out here now. Oh wait, no, we're back near the start. Oh, it's the ferry. Oh, that's...
Means Baldur.
Baldur is dead.
Odin sent him to track down a giant in Midgard, and then he found Kratos. Anyway, I promised.
Mimir's like,
to
and
the
then...
tallest peak in the realms if they'd chop off my head and convince Freya to bring it back.
Mimir, speak of Baldur.
I was getting to that.
Watch out!
They're just like, shh, come on, speak of Boulder, please.
Get down from there and fight us!
Oh, nice, let's go.
Hoisting your back.
Oh, that's cool. Fucking see you there, buddy.
Behind you, incoming.
They're dead.
Come. We must leave before more creatures attack. You should have taken the spear. Defended yourself.
No. I've abjured all violence.
But you're the god of war.
I left that behind long ago.
If Odin starts Ragnarok, you really wouldn't fight?
Not even if I wished to.
Oh shit! So he's like kind of like Kratos then, where like he was the god of war, and now he's like, no, I'm not really don't want to be that all that anymore.
Before we go any further, the truth. What is it you want from me? You speak of Ragnarok. Is it a god of war you came to find? Is that the tear you need?
Atreus.
Forgive me. I am grateful for my freedom. But if you want me to follow you to war, or worse yet, lead you to it, then kill me now. My fight is gone. Damage is done.
No one's killing you, brother.
Better that than to live to see Ragnarok.
We do not seek war.
Is he
I
gonna?
just want some answers.
I don't know how to help you.
It doesn't matter. The Giants trusted you. That's the tear we need. We need you.
All right.
A big guy, he's a tier above the rest. Got him.
All I ask is for a good night's rest. And maybe some food.
Oh, he's gonna be based in the land in the realms between with the dwarves.
Bringing me dinner.
Brother, perhaps now you'd like to finish the story?
Cody
The
Rose.
sons of Thor attacked us. We killed them. Baldur tried to kill Freya. I killed him.
But you skipped over how we fought and freed the Valkyries. And that the Giants are all gone. And how they called me Loki. And finding the shrines
Giants are gone.
and when you got to Jotunheim, they were all dead.
Dead. Do you think Odin?
We do not know.
I think we're getting out of here not a moment too soon.
Whoa, what are those?
Reinforcements from Asgard. The Einherjar will want to investigate my disappearance thoroughly.
Are they
So
using
what-
the sky to travel between realms?
Odin's got tricks up his sleeve we haven't dared to consider.
They're coming down on Nidavellir too. Will the dwarves be okay?
The time for such concerns has passed. We must leave. Now.
Run, 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 run. Low. Oh. Quest for Tyr complete. Here we go.
Yggdrasil. It's been too long. I'd forgotten. Beauty.
Tyr, in your travels, did you ever hear the Giants talk about Loki?
I'm sorry. That name doesn't sound familiar. The Giants were very private people.
Makes sense.
Perhaps after a rest.
Yeah, maybe. That might work.
A treehouse.
Lord Tyr, you're really alive.
Am I? I wonder.
Okay.
He's just tired. I promised him some food and a room to rest in.
Ah, of course you did. Well, let's see what we can do. Please, come inside.
We'll be right in.
Well, I'll be damned. It's
So, can we talk about what to do next?
There is much to consider. We will speak in the morning.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay. In the morning.
Hold still.
Is this still played by the same person? Yeah, I just went through puberty. Yeah, I noticed it's the same person.
Much better. Thank you.
When I seen the...
Sleep tight, dear. I'm gonna turn in. Big day tomorrow.
So, Tyr. Sounds like promises were made. Let's see about getting you settled, shall we? If you'll follow me. Have a seat over here, and I'll arrange accommodations. I may need time to construct a bed for someone of your scale.
Please, don't go to trouble on my account. Too much space would be unsettling. Do you have a broom closet?
Yes.
So that's what's left of Tyr, huh? Back where I come from, we'd say he's been through a few things.
Been through a few things.
So have we all.
Well, ain't you philosophical?
With a pinch of salt.
Well, I'll see what I can find.
Yeah, I'll take your crap. Ready when you are.
Need stonewood for that, and then 3 more rawhide. The radiant ward. Yeah, I'm not going to use any of those, am I?
Hand it over already.
Nice. Tyr is voiced by the same person that voices Patroclus in Hades, as well as Fuse in Apex. Oh, he voices Patroclus. Oh, nice. The friend of Achilles.
What are you thinking, brother?
Haven't told me everything.
I am thinking. I want things to be the way they were.
Well, I'd like to climb a tree again. Certain ships have sailed.
I just wish Atreus were not so restless. I care only for his safety.
I know, brother. But holding him too tight won't keep him out of danger. The lad's determined to make a few mistakes of his own. And I hate to say it, I think Tyr might be one of them. I've never seen a man broken so completely.
His pain is fresh. You expect too much.
Aye, perhaps.
He's hiding.
He still wants to kill you.
What's he's hiding underneath?
Ally we could use.
That is not an option.
No, I don't suppose it is.
Trouble sleeping. Ah! Shh. You cannot sneak up on me like that. There's something I have to do in Midgard.
What? Without me? I thought we were partners.
We are, just wasn't sure you'd want to join me. I'm visiting an old friend.
Oh, I see. Or possibly not doing that, taking into account she's determined to murder you.
She wouldn't really.
Look, I think it's lovely that you see the best in people.
He's going to try and see Freya.
The best in people by not getting yourself murdered.
But we need her. It's worth the risk.
Is it though?
Are we going to have a stealth action with Atreus?
How
Yep.
about I suggest an alternative? Something much less risky, but maybe could give you some answers.
What are you talking about?
A certain old friend you haven't seen in a while. A very giant friend.
Jormungandr? Did you find him?
Why don't I show you? It's
What's
just on the
happened?
way to the vengeful goddess who wants you dead. So it'll give us some time to decide about not going there.
So, you know where Freya is?
No. Yes, but look, let's just talk to the snake first, and then I won't take you to Freya. How's that sound?
Old friends. The Mystic Gateway.
Glad you brought your key of Yggdrasil. I seem to have dashed out without mine.
Huh. You got sick of having house guests that fast?
What? No. I could just use some fresh air, is all.
Well, I hope you like it cold.
Should we swing by your cabin first? Will your furry friend be joining us this time?
No. I meant to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
He's dead.
Oh. I'm very sorry to hear that. As wolves go, he was always very clean.
Thanks.
I'd offer to give you a hug, but...
Oh, look, you're actually playing as Atreus. I know, crazy, right, isn't it? Imagine not playing as Kratos. I mean, this wasn't really a spoiler, so... Because I've seen people play as Atreus, so...
But that's what makes you think Jormungandr's nearby?
I know what I smelled.
Okay. Well, a lot's kinda happened, and I need answers.
Old friends, speak with Jormungandr. The word serpent. I think we'll speak with the Wild Serpent and then...
Not so easy, huh?
Shut up!
Tried punching it. What an idiot. We're a child. And now what? Oh.
What are you looking at me for? I gave you the fancy bowstring.
True. So, Father said I cast a spell when Fenrir died, but I don't know what he's talking about.
Accidental magic? That is disquieting.
Accidental magic's not all. I sort of turned into a bear.
A bear? Including the slobber?
Yeah, but I lost control. Frey knows magic better than anyone. She could help me.
But not giant magic.
Fine. We'll do it your way then, Sin. A huge venomous snake seems much safer.
It's... venomous?
Tyrion! How you doing, bud? How was stream? How was Mass Effect? Yeah, good stream up. I think it was Mass Effect 2 you were playing? Where chat decided your fate. Oh, I just realised the time.
Ethereum_Stormwind raided my stream with 4 viewers.
Oh, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Ethereum. Welcome in, Calandra. Good to see you all. It was good. Recruited a fair few of the possible party members, and yeah, Mass Effect. Oh, Mass Effect 2. Nice, nice, nice. Good to hear. Gonna read and run because I haven't played this God of War, and I don't want it spoiled. No worries at all, Cinema. No worries at all. Good to see you, buddy. I'm probably going to be wrapping up very soon anyway, because it's getting late for me. So, Thank you for that, Cinema. How far did you get in Mass Effect 2? Like, what was the longest bit? Yeah, no worries, no worries, Cinema.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move
Welcome
it.
everybody.
I like to...
Welcome to the stream. Those who don't know me, I'm Wash Bandicoot, variety streamer of some sorts, and we are playing God of War Ragnarok for the first time.
Original King Julian, but the case man. I love how all the
Guys,
girls move
move
their
the
body.
body.
And when you move your body, you don't move it nice and sweet and sassy. Alright? Woman, you're cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Woman, you're cute, and you don't need no makeup. Original cute body makeup on model. Physically fit, physically fit.
Thanks for the daily reward. Appreciate it. Great redeems too. Oh, thank you, buddy. We just recruited Tali, so just to say just over a third. Oh, okay, yeah. Nice. Are you doing the loyalty missions as well? Etherin, or are you leaving that for now? So I know that plays a part in the whole survival, isn't it? You like that? Chat decides that too. Ah, okay. The Tomb Raider, love to see that. Chat decides that too. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Is that... Pretty sure that goes a long way towards if certain party members live or die. So, that's going to be very interesting. I just come back. Why have I gone this way for? Oh, hang on. I didn't go this way.
No way I'm lifting that. Maybe with some help?
Don't look at me. Who knows where it's been?
Sindri's like, nah, fam.
Looks like there's something hidden by the horsemen. If only I had a way to burn this.
Yes, if only your father were here.
That's not what I said.
I can't see the other side of the panel from here. Can you? Maybe you need a higher vantage point.
Yeah, but how do I get up there? Yeah, it does. Yeah, we refuse to re-become a Spectre, as Cinema hadn't seen what happens if you don't when you get to Mass Effect 3. Oh, okay. So you turn down being a Spectre. That's interesting. Interesting.
Your father owed Thor a blood payment, and well, he got it.
Wow, great story.
Anyway, is that likely to happen again?
I don't think I've actually played without by not being reduced.
Got my back?
They're literally made of filth. I'm not touching.
Who said you need to touch them?
I like the way you think. Okay, here goes nothing. That's some quality craftsmanship.
Okay, so we're basically Hawkeye. Okay. I dig.
A little help would be nice.
Okay, right. I'll just take this, you dirty pile of rocks. Ah, don't touch me.
Wow, street. Harsh words. I'm sure he'll recover.
Shut up. You want my help or not?
All right.
I mean, as I say, like, dude, he is helping. Don't choose to have Tali die. Oh, well. You'll have to be there to stop it happening, right?
Thanks for sacrificing so many objects from your bag of tricks.
Well, you clearly need the help.
Oh, whatever. Shoot. I think the lift switch is broken. You can fix it, can't you? Or does your brother have all the talent after all?
Depends. Is your father all the muscle?
If I say yes, you realize you're confirming Brock has all the talent?
Oh, there we go. Just happens to have that spare.
There. Let's get going.
Why are you worrying so much today?
I just need to look out for the people I care about. Keeps bad things from happening to them.
Freya wouldn't kill me. And Jormungandr's probably not even there. Besides, he likes me. He's only eaten me once.
I had conveniently scrubbed that from my memory.
Well, we're here.
I had conveniently scrubbed that from my memory. Up there you gotta get to, isn't it? With the horn.
Told you he's gone.
Well, have you tried calling him?
Blowing the horn's the first thing we tried.
I'm not talking about the horn.
Grab a drink. No worries, Ethereum. Take care. So if you need to do any post-stream stuff, please do.
That's not weird at all.
Shh.
Holding on to his leg for dear life. Oh, he looks a bit pissed. All this music though. He's like, oh, you. What's happening?
What is that? What is that?
Inward.
That's all you're gonna say? Well, don't let us keep you up or anything.
Good talk.
Ironwood. What do you think it means?
Means we should have stayed home. Let's head back.
Surprised we're going back, to be honest. I feel like it feels like we're not.
Door's frozen. Maybe I can. Ah!
Break the bow.
Let me do it.
Sindri's like, what the fuck, man?
So what was your plan anyway? Just stroll up to the old Valkyrie Council circle and hope Freya's in a good mood?
Well, now that I know where she is, yeah, exactly what I'm gonna do.
Fuck. Don't tell Brock I cursed. He's unbearable when he's smug.
Look, Baldur tried to kill her. We had no choice.
Not sure she sees it that way.
Well, I'm not gonna ask her. Besides, they were your arrows.
You're absolutely right, which is exactly why I'm recommending we don't do this.
Yeah, those green arrows, yeah. Ah. Hawkeye, I'm Hawkeye. Nice. All good, all good. Or green arrow. Yeah, green arrow if you're thinking of DC. Yeah. True, true, true. I like his combat with his, like the fact that his like bow turns into a sword is quite cool. I like that. I do like that.
Well, that's quite enough excitement for one day.
No way. We're so close.
Oh dear. Maybe this is a sign.
Don't be a baby. I'll catch you. Promise not to drop you this time. Fine. Just step between the realms then.
You know it doesn't work that way. Though sweet Bessla, I wish it did.
See?
He fucking flung himself.
Sincerely hope I never have to do it again, if that's what you're asking. My shop! Well, if I can't stop you, then this is as far as I go. I'm gonna stay and fix this.
Suit yourself.
He is very much like Kratos, though. Like, in the way of like, he's very stubborn. First, try to strike grapple towards an enemy and strike them. Dive into battle. Yeah, look at that. Next option was by service. Hold on to trip and strike an enemy. Okay, so archery and aggression is what we got. And I'm back. Welcome back, Theron. Welcome back. Welcome back.
You sure you want to go in there wearing the very arrow tip that killed her son?
I'll hide it under my shirt. And besides, it's a reminder to be better.
You need a murder weapon to be a better person?
It makes me feel brave, okay? Is that such a bad thing?
When it leads you to believe you can convince Freya of anything, yes, it is.
I have to try.
Hit the fire pot!
Sweet. Just keep going.
Are you sure this is a good idea? You haven't got a plan.
I know. I thought it was gonna end soon, but don't want to just like stop middle of this bit.
What makes you think that applies here? This is life and death.
And this is Ragnarok. We can't just do nothing, and we're out of options.
Living is an option.
Thinks that he can change the
Which way
tide.
to the council? As long as I go up and forward, I think I'll get there eventually. Yeah, sounds right.
Fucking hell! I thought it was just gonna be like a little visit and then be done with, but. You know this could last another hour. I know it could. I know it could. It just doesn't feel like a right place to stop. Oh, 69 hack silver. Nice.
All right, more soundstone.
You know what? I prefer how Atreus plays. Yeah, I think Atreus is a bit more fun in combat than Kratos. Like with the bow and stuff. I think. I just love the Blades of Chaos. You know? I just love the Blades of Chaos.
Man, if Father could see me now, he would lose it.
He would
I
very
wouldn't
much.
have to hide things if he'd just trust me.
How can I trust you if you lie?
Actually, that's a good point. Maybe if you listen to me.
Could I not say the same?
Well, where do you think I learned it from?
Oh, that's pretty fucking cool. Now it's like headshots are doing really good for stunning. I know how to parry, I just don't want to do it. See you there. Nice. Not just that, he's agile and quicker. Yeah, he's a bit more mobile. Kratos is brute force, whereas Atreus is finesse. It does very much seem that way.
Why don't you trust her? Why won't you tell me?
Closets, nice. Oh, nice big chest. Ooh. Big chest. Oh, it's a deer. Sindri let slip that Frey should be at the Council of Valkyries. If I come alone, maybe she'll talk to me. I think it's worth the risk. I think I'll call it here. I think that seems a decent place to stop. I'm getting tired. I don't want to just push through. So we will call it there. Yeah, it's getting late. I just honestly, when you raided, I was like, "What is the time?" And I looked, and I was like, "Shit." Yes, I'll see you next time, Drex. Said we'll be back tomorrow, probably with another continuing on with Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok, and then yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And then Sunday, I think, fingers crossed, Sunday, I think we'll do a little cheeky little Final Fantasy 14 stream, unlocking Like, I've already started the quest for Viper, but we'll unlock it and try it out and see how it goes. We won't do any main story quest for now. We'll leave that for another time. So I think that's all we'll do. And yeah, I'm just gonna end stream. Gonna head on out, and I will see you all hopefully next time for another episode of God of War Ragnarok. Again, thank you for the raids, liking and Ethereum. Really, really appreciate it, and for the follows and channel point redemptions and stuff. Greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all next time.